One thing that you did mention though that I probably want to touch on to probably end this off was um, you speaking to your kids about this, right?
Right.
It's very big that people are aware of the things that's going on. What exactly are the things that you are touching on with your kids to keep, to as far as this situation?
So the conversations I have with my children about this is I'm challenging them to, hey, let's ask questions to figure out why this is really happening. Because throughout history, we have learned that the history we're taught in school isn't the real history of the world at all.
Okay.
And so we need to look at this and be objective and try and understand what's happening and why it's happening. And I use it as a teaching point for them to have what I call the questioning attitude. And it's something that I think we need to foster in our children. I'm not saying we want to argue, but teaching them how to have a healthy conversation, to disagree, teaching them how to ask questions just for the purposes of seeking the truth. I firmly believe we need to be truth seekers and truth finders. And I think that we need to challenge the narrative that's being sold to us daily. Because as we know, I mean, even looking back on Columbus, for example, we know what a sham we've been taught in schools on that whole thing.
Right.
So I don't let my kids celebrate Columbus Day as a Mexican American or Chicano or Latino, Hispanic, whatever you want to deem me as. There's no way I want my kids celebrating Columbus Day. There's not.
I hear you on that. I mean, I was a kid that grew up thinking about this and until, you know, the recent years where not the recent years, but it's been a while since, it's come to light that this man, how could he have been the one to discover this place?
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense. And I get what you say. It's a lot of things where um we're being given information without necessarily asking questions, without asking
True.
those tough questions, without things leading to an argument to force a viewpoint down your throat or anything like that.
Right.
Um that's definitely good. And honestly, I think I ended there. I think I ended there because it's a lot of things that's going to be going on within the next few days or weeks that come about to change the narrative. Um, I mean, even Ukraine being able to fight so hard to, I think they lost the airport at one time and then regained it back. Um, all of these little things. It's more information that we need to know moving forward. And there's been things that have been denied, claims that have been denied over throughout these few days. And I'm really interested to get more factual information. So it'll definitely be something that we come back to touch on within the next few weeks. Is there anything that you like to say?
Yeah. I just have another thoughts as you were talking about, tying this all up. Even challenging even when we talk back to the very first conversation we had regarding the Ashkenazi Jews, even there, we know that we've been sold a whole different bill of goods there regarding that history. And Whoopi Goldberg got in trouble for saying something over it. And the reality is, the deeper we dig, the more we question things, and then we start finding truth, and history begins to actually reveal itself. Okay, then we find what's really there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of conversations here. There's a great teaching point for parents to children regarding this. We have to question this narrative, and this is a problem today. One thing that I heard a while back that really stuck with me, and I want to say Timothy Alvarino said it. One of the guys associated with Gen 6 Studios or something like that, Gen 6 Productions. I forget what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He had mentioned something a while back that I saw on one of his documentaries, and he said, "Whoever controls the narrative controls history."
It's true.
And I think that's a powerful statement.
I believe so. It's definitely true. And you know what's funny? You probably would love to hear this. Recently, I met a Jewish American man, um, white skin tone, and I decided to ask the question. Usually, a lot of times people say, don't speak politics and things like that, religion. But I did. I decided to push that boundary and ask a question. And I asked him basically, how did he feel about, the Whoopi Goldberg situation, or the Nick Cannon situation. And what he said to me was actually interesting. He said where these people go wrong is comparing strife. And that's the only part that they go wrong, is where they tend to compare things like slavery and what we've been through to the things that Jews been through as far as the Holocaust and things like that. He said that's the part where we go wrong. What actually stuck out to me was that he see my skin tone. He said, well, my ancestors' skin tone wasn't like this. He said, my ancestors are actually from Egypt.
Mm.
He said they're actually from Egypt, so they're actually black. And we basically ended up wrapping up that conversation to say there's a lot of people here that may be Jewish. Not all, obviously, because a lot of people don't know their actual origin. You know,
Right.
Africa was still a huge continent. It still
Mhm.
is a huge continent where there's many different type of people, and being here in this melting pot, we're all deemed to be African American or Latin, and we don't really know our origin to necessarily say that we're Jew. But he explained to me how they started in Egypt. That is the origin. That is where they originated. And through the years, where through persecution and things like that, they were looking for a place to settle. Israel wasn't the original place. And he mentioned how, um, and if someone sees this and I may be wrong, please comment and educate me. But he did tell me how if there was a point in time where they settled somewhere near Germany, and they mixed in with another people, and that's where the lighter skin tone came from, um,
So
before heading back to Israel.
it'd be interesting to go and do that research on that on his people. Um, but I think worth the conversation to have in the future would be the difference between Jew and Hebrew,
Mm,
because being Jew, being Jewish, or a practicer of or practicing Judaism, not the same as being Hebrew of origin. We know
mm,
the Bible's from the Hebrew from the Bible are not the Jews that occupy Israel today. You can get mad at me all you want, but they tell us themselves where they come from.
mm,
It's in their history. They're the ones that recorded. They're the ones that told us about it. And if you compare biblical history to what the world is discovering, we see where the origins are at. So I think it's worth having a conversation down the road. Hebrew and Jew,
mm.
Judaism and or being Hebrew. There's a difference. I think we should talk about that sometime.
That's definitely something I'll look up, because I mean, just having this conversation and you saying that, I'll tell you that I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not aware of what the difference of being Hebrew and being a Jew is.
Yeah.
So that'll definitely be something for a later topic, that we could always touch on, because a lot of these things, even in the Russia and Ukraine situation,
Hmm.
the conversation that me and you had did kind of touch into certain things as far as religion and things like that. Like you said, there's kind of some underlying things that people aren't necessarily seeking. They're just taking the news for what it is on the surface.
Right. All right.
So definitely, um, I like to thank everybody that is watching this. Um, please make sure that you like, comment, share this, because these are conversations that we need to have, whether it's news or it's these religious things. These are the hard conversations that we need to have to be able to grow as people, and actually grow our personal understandings. I'd also like to thank you, Gabe, for joining me today and having these conversations with me, and joining me here on News Talk Weekly. For all you guys, everybody out there, you guys have a great day. Go back and check out those things to do here in Phoenix, Arizona completely. And hope you guys enjoy your week. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Saquon.
Thank you.